We're gonna go over the technique of Ryan Crouser's longest throw in the history of the sport of track and field, and we're gonna start right now. All right, so Ryan Crouser went out the day of US Indoor Nationals, which is absolutely crazy, and reminds me of the ending of The Watchmen, where it's just like, we're gonna determine, you know, it's like this meme, and Jason, our cameraman here at Garage Strength, Throws You, even pointed this out. It's like US track and field was saying, hey, we're gonna have the best shot putter in the US, Joe Kovacs at 21.55. And then there's Ryan Crouser saying, wait, I threw 23.38 5 hours earlier, 3 hours earlier. So anyway, it's just crazy. It's absolutely insane. It's such a far throw. He's been playing around with his new technique. So we're gonna go into this actual movement that he uses inside of the indoor world record throw. And what I wanna talk about too is that it just absolutely solidifies him, you know, 100% the greatest shot putter of all time. And I would say the greatest shot putter of all time, male and female at this point. That could be debatable between he and Val Adams, but I think it sort of goes back and forth. But now with the world records, I don't know. I want to see what happens this coming year, especially at the World Championships. If we do the quick math here, if we just took what he did with the previous world record of outdoors, right? So he added 2.5% to the indoor world record. What my main goal here is to break down and see what is he doing with his technique, and is there anything different that he's done compared to 2016 Crouser all the way up to winning the Olympics again in 21, all the way to the World Championships last year and breaking the world record. And first, I want to give a big shout out to Todd Noonan. So this is Todd Noonan's video. Go find him on YouTube. This is the best video. Thank God for Todd Noonan that this video is available. And it reminds me of back at the Olympic trials, we have footage of Ryan throwing on a GH5. And it's some of the best, I believe it's some of the best footage of Crouser actually throwing. And this, I would say, is better. This looks like it's filmed on, it actually looks like it's filmed on a Panasonic, if you ask me, based off of the colors and just the quality, and just this angle's perfect. This is the absolute best footage that you could possibly get. Thank you, Todd Noonan. So everybody should be applauding him. Now let's go into what he does in this technique. So I want to play this at high speed, at normal speed here. And then what we'll do is we will also go back and just break this down. So this is at the Simplot Games. This is also where I think he broke the indoor high school national record at Idaho State University, home of the Bengals. Anyway, it's just, I want to know the gossip behind him going to this meet. I just want to know that thrower's tee. And I had actually talked to his training partner, Eric, who explained to me with the Crouser slide that a couple days he had been throwing with the Crouser slide and was just dropping huge throws with a 6 kilo implement. And so he has seen some serious success with that. And what I think might be interesting to point out before we break this down is that the Crouser slide might be giving him the feeling of a really, really wide right leg around that left side, and in turn is resulting in this throw. I want to point out now, as we start to break this down, he seems to be slightly off center, okay? So if you look at where the toe board is here, right? This essentially would be like the center. So you can see he is starting more towards the right side for him on the throw. So I did want to point that out, that he is starting slightly off center, not like Tom Walsh or Stipe Zunic, but a little bit off center, right? Now, as we watch this, so a lot of people were saying that it was a static start. I don't know if I would call that a static start, because he does go. So like, there is a little bit of a stretch shortening cycle. So right here would be the beginning of his throw with that left arm. So if we watch, he does load his right a little bit. So I wouldn't really call it a static start, just to be clear. I don't think this is a static start by definition, okay? I'm sure someone will disagree with me in the comments, but let's keep rolling. So let's look at the opening position. If you guys watched when we talked about Che opening, I mean, I would just watch the Che video where we discussed how he opens. You can see here with Crouser, that left arm is past his left knee. Che keeps the left arm a little bit more inside the left knee. I think this is more specific to shot put, where you open basically at what would be essentially 180 degrees. So you turn your left foot to 180 degrees, and then that's when you pick up. And you can see this is his point of pickup. That is where his right foot picks up. Now, notice that the shot, when he picks up, I think this is the key concept, okay? If we get back to this frame, what I think a lot of people, and I mentioned this in the Che video, what a lot of people have not been taught, okay? And I will say Dr. B talked about this quite a bit, is being in a long double support in the back of the circle, because that could actually help mimic the front. What we're gonna be seeing over the next 5 years is that this position, this double support position here, this is his last point of pickup. Look at where the shot is. It's past the midpoint of his foot, or it's right in line with like the midpoint, his tibia, you know, that's right in line with that point. That's a key concept, and that gives that a little bit more of a stretch into that right hip, which then helps that be a little bit more active on his push. Now, what I wanted to point out here, when he picks up, look at that right knee, okay? His right knee is flexed. So that means he's had some hip extension, and that flex position helps push him around that left side, okay? So now as we look, when Ryan extends his right leg, it's probably right around here, maybe a little bit later, that his right extends, okay? You can see his hip is a little bit, maybe a hair folly there. Not terribly so, but still just maybe a little bit more. But then as he comes off, you can see that weight shift over that foot. So this position here is balanced on the left, just like he's balanced on his left at pickup, okay? So I wanna make that clear. At pickup, he's balanced on his left foot. He's got the shot over his left foot. Then as he comes off his left and goes forward, he's balanced on his left foot, okay? Now let's pay attention to his right foot. His right foot sweeps down. Notice this is not reminiscent of Randy Barnes. Okay, this is not reminiscent of that old sweep and jump, okay? Those days are gone. I wanted to go over his right foot, and then I want to watch his left heel here, okay? So let's see that push. By the way, Crouser looks like he gained like 20 pounds. He just looks freaking jacked. He's huge. That right leg sweep, and then he lines up right there, okay? So watch that right foot come down. Watch it down. Look at how close his heel is. Look at how close that heel is right there. Boom. What? And so when we think about the glide, this is what's crazy about like the old coaching methods. It was like long or short, long glides were the best. Timmerman did it short, long, short, long. And the reasoning was you had longer position at the front to accelerate. But for some reason, we taught opposite of that for 25, 30 years, probably more than that, since the mid 70s, really. We taught this long jumping position on the spin, land at the front really tight in like this, you know, almost like you're riding a horse position, and then jump out of that. So it was like a long, short spin. Whereas now, and we've been talking about this for a while, it's basically a short, long spin, if you ask me. And just look at how quickly his right foot gets to that center. And that position there of the right foot, look, there's no disputing this. It's sweep it down. Put that down. Make sure you bleep that out, Jason. Put the right foot down as fast as you can. Sweep it wide, push it wide, get balanced on the left, sweep it down. Now, I want to go back over this left leg here, okay? So let's go right. Okay, so there you can see he's got the elevated heel, right? And then from that point, you can see right there, it drops a little bit. I'm gonna try and clear that off. You can see now it's lower than it had been. So he does drop that heel a little bit. I think you could argue that he should keep that up a little bit more. I've actually had this discussion with Mustafa Hassan about his left heel staying up higher, because I think Joe comes off his left. I think Joe's left foot relative to his right is faster than Ryan's. And I think that could be one area that we could see him pick up a little bit more speed, is keeping that left heel. But, you know, I don't know. Anyway, what I want to point out here is essentially if we took this now, with where his shot is and down, straight down. So we can see the toe, the knee, the shoulder, and I really, really like what he's doing with this left arm right there, okay? Now that left side, notice how his left side, and I've talked to Joe Kovacs about this. This is like back 2019, I think I talked to him. Joe used to say, I would assume he still does, he would say he would try and catch that left sector with the left arm and almost throw the left arm across him up that left sector. And it almost looks like Ryan's doing that right here. You can see that left arm. Just see what he's doing when he catches that, how much he lets that wrap. And then that leads this right, or the left foot to get to the front, okay? And he's staying on that bent right, okay? While the heel is high in the middle. So the shot is sort of moving, but the left shoulder is slowing down, okay? But what that does is that then when the left foot gets to that touchdown point, I want to see if I'm missing anything here. I really like this. I just feel like he's getting so strong here. He's staying mobile, getting that nice knee flexion. I also wanted to point out, watch. Yeah, a lot of us will be taught too in high school, like, we gotta stay lower in the back. So everybody will squat like Andy Bloom used to squat, like out of the back of the circle. Dude, he's at like 45 degrees. Okay, stay at 45 degrees. It's comfortable there. And then he doesn't really get much lower until he's in the middle. Then even in the middle though, he's at about 45 degrees. Okay, then this comes around. That left comes down, shoulder is back here. And this is the one thing that I think is very consistent even with Joe's huge throws. So if you watch our analysis of him in Zurich, Joe catches that left shoulder back. Whereas in the past, we would see that left shoulder more in line with, it's like more usually for most throwers who aren't as talented technique-wise as Ryan and Joe. Most throwers, when the left leg is down, the left arm is here and the left leg is down. With Joe and Ryan, that left arm is back. So having that fast left leg and having that re-wrap can really lead to some crazy tension in the middle. And then if you have good strength and you have good ability to come out of that, you can see here with Ryan how he's able to just keep that right side rotating. So let's do this. Let's zero in on right there, okay? You can just see, notice too. All right, this is a big one. Okay, right here, okay, you can see his left heel is starting to come back to the back of the circle when it grounds. This is something that we talk about with Val Allman, and this is something that we talk about with Christian Che, and this is something that I believe that has not been taught in the US. So there's two things, double support in the back and grounding with the left knee more open at the front, and you can see it happening right there. Now, something else I see, okay, so he's got that nice bent right leg, okay, bent. His right leg is bent. He's not extending it up, he's bending it so he can line up with the sector. I think he leads with that left shoulder quite a bit, but look at this one position here, okay? You can see the flexion in the left knee, okay? You can see that left knee flexion. Do not tell me he's locking out his left knee, okay? That is a bent left knee. Now, even here, it's bent even more, and he rotates really well, and then he'll extend right here, okay, after the shot is about to exit his hand. Okay, so that's when the extension happens, but he's still bent on the right. He's still bent on the right. The right knee is bent. It is not extended. Do not teach your throwers to extend your right knee. It doesn't happen. And I would not even teach them to extend the left, because look at what happens right there. He keeps that nice and bent, and then he basically sits that right hip around. Left arm's leading, and his right shoulder just keeps chasing forward. And because of how well that left quad was holding, look at that position. So this is where his right foot reverses to, okay? Look at that great yell. Great yell. Look at the yell. Look at the left foot in the green arrow, please. Look at the right foot in the green arrow. Where his left foot holds, his right side transfers. We have a video from a while back on Throws You, probably 2 years ago, where I talk about that I don't think that the left leg should be called a block leg, okay? I was on a crusade that I wanted to change the verbiage. I do not think it should be a block leg, because I think people think about extending it too early, and then it blocks us from actually transferring. I think we should be thinking about the throw as a trebuchet. And I actually, based off the levers here, at this point, I think you can actually see this trebuchet. It's almost like a foxtail. Think about that, like the old toy foxtail. I don't know if you guys know what those are, but you can see this is called transfer of weight. He goes right to where his left foot was. Everything goes forward perfectly, okay? And then he gets in that flat right on the reverse. A lot of elite throwers struggle with this, and the reason why they don't reverse with the heel down, the reason why you see professional shot putters get called with the heel on the toe board is because they're extending their right. Okay, so right here, their right leg is going up and they're jumping on the finish instead of keeping that right bent a little bit longer and then staying down with the heel. So if you extend your knee or you lift too much, you will foul with your right heel on the board. Ryan's not even close to that because he stays down and lets his energy transfer. And then I don't think we can see where this lands, but everybody knew it was a world record right away. So I think it's just, you know, I don't know, how many analysis have we done of Crouser? He's got the best technique ever. He's got easy technique that's repeatable. Just got to do it thousands and thousands of times. I think pay attention to the double support position out of the back of the circle, how he opens and gets that right shoulder over that left foot. That little offset I actually sort of like. That also is where his Crouser slide's coming from. I like the offset position. Reminds me of Stipe Zunic and Tom Walsh. I like how well he pushes from the right hip and the right glute. That helps him keep his right knee bent longer. Take note on the level of the right sweep. It sweeps down. It does not sweep up, okay? Left heel, I would like to have a debate with people, so comment down below if you think the left heel should drop out of the back or if the left heel should stay higher. The right cuts in, the left leg moves really fast. He's got that nice re-wrap position in the middle where he catches that left sector. Everything moves around really well. He stays bent on that right. Left leg, when it grounds, the left knee is facing the sector. That's another big thing that I think a lot of people that we're gonna start to really coach more of here in the US because of what he's doing. And then that great transfer of his energy. Think about the foxtail example of throwing. I don't know if you've ever thrown a foxtail or just the thought of a trebuchet. I think the thought of a trebuchet is really important when we're thinking about that rotational technique. And I think that this throw is phenomenal, 2.5% on the indoor world record, and that just tells me there's gonna be even crazier things that come outdoors, and I wanna see what kind of shape Joe's even in when we get into the outdoor season. So if you guys need help with your throwing, head over to throwsuniversity.com. If you wanna have help with your post-collegiate training, come train at Garage Strength, and if you guys want to improve your overall technique, you can pick up a technical analysis at throwsuniversity.com. Remember, implement all these technical aspects and you can become a champion. Until next time, peace.